the LX 700H is finally here. When I worked for Lexus back in 2018, it was said that Lexus would have an electrified variant of every model in their lineup by 2025. Well, here we are, it's 2025. The LX finally has a hybrid. Now, the GX in America still doesn't have the hybrid. It'll probably come by the end of this year, but the GX does have a hybrid in other markets, the GX 550H, I believe. So the 700H is the largest number we've ever seen on a Lexus. Previously, it was the 600, and it shared with the old LS hybrid, the LS 600HL. But the new hybrid option here on the LX is going to give us more power. And is it going to give us more efficiency? We'll find out in today's review. We're going to test it at night, check out all the lights, and I'll tell you guys if this $4,000 upgrade for the LX is worth it over the standard twin turbo V6. Guys, make sure to stay to the end. We're gonna put this on my spreadsheet to compare to other models I've reviewed so far this year, see where it lands on my tier list, if it's a good buy. I cannot wait to see you at the end and where we can discuss where this vehicle falls amongst not only its competition, but just with other cars in general that I've tested this year. How good is it? So we've seen this twin turbo V6 hybrid in the Sequoia and the Tundra. Here it makes a little bit more, probably because Lexus rates it on premium fuel instead. So we have 457 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. The standard engine has 409 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, the non-hybrid. Now, what's unique about this is that compared to the Sequoia and the Tundra, the battery pack, which is the same battery pack, the nickel metal hydride, 1 kilowatt hour-ish battery pack that sits underneath the rear seats, it is waterproof. And there is a waterproof warning if water does get into the hybrid battery area, and it's also air conditioned. So maybe that also will give this better performance as the battery pack is cooler and it can maybe support the engine a little bit more. So with that out of the way, fuel economy on paper is about the same, which is quite laughable when you think Toyota hybrids, but this is a truck hybrid. It's more of a performance hybrid, even though it tows the same amount. So we'll put it on a 0 to 60 here in a little bit and see if it does perform better. It's going to be heavier, so we'll see if the extra horsepower and torque is worth its weight. All right, so we have triple beam headlights up front. This is the F Sport model, which starts around $117,000. Again, about $4,000 more than the non-hybrid model. I remember when this model came out, I drove it around Bandelier National Monument in New Mexico on the media drive, and I'm like, man, the LX is, well, one, it's faster than before, but the F Sport, it was always a weird decision. They finally added now the Lexus, an Overtrail model, which this model should have deserved at launch when the LX 600 was released based off the J300 landcruiser. All right, but it was always crazy to me that there's an F Sport, and the F Sport has 22-inch wheels. That was a bit mind-blowing back in 2021. We have that awesome F Sport logo there. The palm tree's looking pretty sick in the back right now, not gonna lie, but 22-inch wheels are now, you can find them now on, I think, the TX, so it's not the only Lexus model with massive wheels anymore. I'll go ahead and put on the turn indicators. What I found interesting about the front turn indicator, it doesn't take up the whole Lexus motif, it's just the horizontal bar at the bottom, not the check mark that runs vertically. All right, as we come to the back, you know, the LX is still a pretty good looking SUV. It's not nearly as striking as the new Lexus GX, which now is roughly the same size as the LX. It's strange that we have both of them now in the Lexus lineup. But the GX hybrid that is coming will have the 2.4 turbo hybrid, not this twin turbo V6 hybrid, unless Lexus decides to surprise the US market, but I doubt it. All right, this is the creme de la creme. This is the ultimate. This is more luxurious than the GX. And the GX is more of like a luxury off-roader vehicle, but man, does it look cooler. The LX does a lot of things better than the GX, but the GX is so much cheaper, but I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. This is one of the first Lexus models to come out with the light bar after the UX. The NX has it. Pretty much all of the models now. Even the ES refresh in China has kind of a light bar. The Lexus typing there when they got rid of the Lexus logo in the back. And then you see the LX 700H down at the bottom. And the turn indicator looks quite nice here on the back too. All right, shall we get on the inside of the LX? Now, I'm gonna head to my buddy's place here in a little bit and drop off this baby bassinet thing that we used for the last baby Abe, and we're gonna pass it on down. I wanted to put this in here not only to give to my friends, but also show you guys the limited cargo. Look how fat, let me bump the ISO. Look how fat this area is down here. This is for the battery pack, and you're just not gonna have very much space, cargo space. So this has less cargo space than the hybrid, the non-hybrid. The only benefit in the back that I can see is right here. You see this 2400 watt power. Okay, so you have additional power that you wouldn't have on the non-hybrid model. All right, but the floor is raised as a result. There's this piece right here is put in there. Now I'll go and show the image with groceries in here. And with the seats up. With the seats up, there's like 7 cubic feet of cargo space. It's a joke. It's very unusable. And this is not, I'll say this, it's not nearly as good. Oh, the exhaust here, it's kind of cold. It's like 50 degrees. This is not nearly as good as a family vehicle as the TX, and the TX was sorely needed for a long time when I was selling for Lexus. No one wanted the LX if they had to put kids in it, or at least more than 2 kids, because let me show you guys. By the way, I do have puddle lamps here. Okay, looks pretty good sitting there. Let's walk back up so you can see maybe some of the animations it does. There's no cool light animations on the front. Here we go. You see the running board lit up here. And then you can see right there, Lexus. You got the little showering lights there coming down. All right, so handles also light up. Just kind of hard to see, I think. Maybe they don't. That's a strange decision. The handles actually don't light up. I'm pretty sure the NX and RX's handles light up. That's weird. Okay, I said I was gonna get into the back seat. I don't have illuminated skid plates here in the back seat, but you can see the ambient lighting. It's actually green. I don't know why it's showing up blue on the camera, but we do have sunshades. The materials here, very nice. Now this aluminum on this F-Sport, I showed Cassie this. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this aluminum? She says it looks cheap. I've always said that at a vehicle this price point, don't put aluminum in there, put carbon fiber Lexus, but I'm not a part of the design team. All right, so let's talk about these seats, these red and black. Cassie also said these are a little bit too masculine for her. I think you can get it in full black instead of the Deadpool black and red. All right, so here's the issue with the back seat. There's a lot of issues with it actually as a family guy. You can't slide them forward and back. And like rear facing seat, where the passenger seat is up here, that's almost where the seat needs to be to allow for a rear facing seat. It is not a good family car here in America, all right, unless your kids are older. You can't fold down the middle seat for a pass through to the back. It's absurd to me that you can't do that. Instead, your kids are gonna have to have Hulk arms and pull this lever, which again, like it just ran into the seat, so let's kind of force it. And then I can't even, here's the thing, since I have the easy access, it scoots my front chair back, and I can't even flip the seat forward. So let's go ahead and start the car, see if there's any animations you guys care about here. Got a new 12-inch screen there. We'll go over that in a little bit. Yeah, okay. All right. Did it move my seat forward at all? Or is that just kind of where it's at? No, that's just kind of where it's at. So it didn't even move it forward. And so I kind of have to shove that seat forward, which my kids would not be able to do. Or the kids would just have to jump over the middle seat. That's realistically, oh man. Guys, my frozen pizza, I forgot about it. Actually, well, I didn't see it. That's the thing. I was unloading. We went to Sam's Club. I was unloading, and now the pizza's a casualty because I couldn't see it. as it slid between the second and third row. Oh my goodness. That's 11, 12 bucks down the drain. You guys probably feel my pain over the interweb that pizza. Is there anything else back here that got trapped? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to look. Now these seats also fold up and fold down very, very slowly. I would, the thing is, I believe these are standard in the LX lineup, the automatic seats. I would rather have mechanical seats that without the electronic aid because they take forever. All right, you do have a USB back there, you do have reclining, you do have vents up top, and you will have less seating space, meaning your knees are going to be up higher. You're going to be like in a full fetal position back there because of how high the floor is now because of the battery. I'm sorry, Tombstone Pizza, my kids are going to be very, very sad. Maybe I can take it back to Sam's Club and say, hey, we want a refund, and I'll make up something. I don't know, that doesn't sound like it's something I would do that's of low moral character, Kirk Kreifels. All right, and then just look, folding it back up, this is where it defaults to. It's like, it's just a nightmare for kids trying to get into that third row. And with that heavy lever, so frick. It is, oh shoot, I shouldn't have slammed the door that hard because we have soft closed doors all the way around. I forgot to mention that. Soft closed doors, that's what you expect in such a luxury vehicle. All right, here we are with the climate control back here, heated and ventilated seats on this F Sport. You can fold this down. What will it reveal? 2 USBs. Now in the ultra luxury where it just has 2 seats back here, it also has a very limited leg room. Guys, I'm not gonna get any more leg room than this. I feel like the ES, the Lexus ES has more leg room. NX, NX, I wonder if the NX has more leg room than the LX in the second row. It's ridiculous. We do have lights above, and let's go ahead and get out of here. All right, the driver's seat is where I want to be on an LX. Again, more aluminum, memory seats, auto folding mirrors, big old chunky handles that are leather wrapped. Materials are great. Illuminated F Sport skid plate down there, F Sport. Well, this is interesting. Specifically F Sport LX. I don't know if the camera will show that. We got aluminum pedals. We do have massaging seats. Very good massaging seats. We got the F Sport embossed headrest. Good, soft closing doors. There it goes. Oh, so good. All right, so we got the heat running in here. 55 degrees, that's downright chilly for Southwest Florida. All right, new 12-inch screen. Previously it was a dinky 7-inch screen that looked very cheap. You know, while the 12-inch screen across the Toyota and Lexus lineups are nice, they're not the easiest to customize or play with. I talk about that in every single Lexus or Toyota review, all right? And it changes per car. You know, like the NX and the RX have this screen, but they have, you know, sometimes they'll have the customizable buttons with the head-up display. Speaking of this head-up display, okay, all right, look at this. This is the minimal. During the day, it's so dim, you can barely see it. It's one of the worst head-up displays I've seen in a modern vehicle, and it's absolutely unacceptable. So yes, there's that. Let's keep moving. Here's the 360 camera. How about we just put into reverse? We still have that old ancient software. When you press the camera button when you're parking, it like does a weird holographic 3D spinner of the vehicle. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'll do it again. Press the camera button. All I want is a top down. Why do I have to go through this? And then I can pause this. Can I exit? But if I exit, it just gets out the camera. So that's why I just put it into reverse to see the camera, the information I want. Not the greatest parking job today. Technically, I'm within the lines, but as you can see, there's no one around me. So there's the 360 camera. Now, it's not gonna show it on screen. And both my wife and I agree on this. Like, dual screens, I don't have really an issue with dual screens if it's implemented right, but it's really ugly how it's implemented. We have like this head and big bezel around this screen that kind of just overflows, and at night it doesn't look as bad as it does during the day. But I have my volume knob, and it's just interesting that the power, like to turn the car on and off, is all the way up here instead of, you know, somewhere on the dash over here. just in a weird spot, but it's functional. Just don't actually accidentally hit the power button instead of the volume button. Don't want to find out what happens if you hit the power button while you're driving. Here is your climate control screen, but also your ride height control screen, your off-roading screen. When I first pulled this up, doesn't it look like this would control the ambient lighting in the car? No, this is just to show the contrast of the screen and the brightness of this smaller screen. So if you want to use ambient lighting, you have to go to the big screen. And this is, it's also a pain to get to the massaging seats like the GX. There's no button for it. It's literally like, guys, to turn on the massaging seat, I'll do that again. Let's say you're in Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. You got to press the car. Okay, then you press seat controls. And you're supposed to do this while you're driving, massage. Then you have to come over here to pick the seat you want to massage, then pick the massage, and then you'll have to press power. So it's like, I don't know how many steps was that. I don't even want to count. It's not that many, but it's pathetic. And it's not very safe or just functional while you're driving. So I have the same gripe with the GX. We do have some switches. It reminds me a little bit actually of the Armada that I drove recently. Fan controls up here, which is touch capacitive, but you do have temperature control, climate concierge, you have your defrost. Multi-train select is down here, drive modes, crawl control, and then down below you're going to have USB-Cs, you have heated and ventilated seat buttons. Why can't I have a button down here for massaging seats or somewhere else in the car? Now, it's not going to show it, it's too dark in here, but there are 3 empty slots over here, probably for like front and rear differential lock on the Overtrail model, but they could have put the massaging seat button here on this model over there, but it is what it is. I'm going to stop griping. You have a little bit of ambient lighting down here for that little storage space, but it's so faint you can barely see it. Oh, I said I was going to show you where to get to the ambient lighting. I got on a tangent with the massaging seat. So interesting, I have to go somewhere else, vehicle customize, and then I go to lights, and then, no, it's not there. Oh, is it illumination? Theme, rainforest, here we go. Here's our ambient lighting. So it's just the software in here, and the decisions of Toyota and Lexus is just not the greatest situation. So there's a reason I haven't messed with a lot of the different settings in this software this week, because it's just a slog. We have this itty bitty shifter that is maybe slightly bigger than what we see in NX and RX. It's not nearly as substantial as old LX 570. Might drive some people crazy. Here's that aluminum that my wife doesn't, or she thinks looks cheap. It should be carbon fiber, in my honest opinion. Auto brake hold, we have center differential lock. You also have your ride height here too. And yes, it can be done in the menu over here as well. Wireless charger. I haven't opened this up. I do have a cool box. I haven't used it this week. My pizza, maybe it could have enjoyed it, but it wouldn't have fit in there. Oh man, I'm so mad about the pizza. And last but not least, the Mark Levinson sound system in the LX is fantastic. One of my favorites. We got to get going. We have a digital rearview mirror. No panel roof in the LX still. If you want a panel roof, you got to get a GX instead. It's just strange that this doesn't have some features that the GX has, even though it costs a lot more money. All right, let's go and drive the LX Hybrid. I want to tell you what it's like. Oh yes, the lighting performance here. The lights, well, they're a little bit too high. I would have to adjust them down. And this model doesn't have, in some Toyota or Lexus models, you'll have light control where you can adjust the high beams and low beams down, point them down. These are actually a little bit too high. I kind of feel like I'm going to be blinding a lot. And then here are the brights. And the brights do a good job. They actually turn off your fog lights though, which is pretty common because for the US laws here. And so the lights shoot up quite high into the trees, probably about 30 feet high in the trees. So the brights are fantastic. The uniformity, my God, is some of the best I've seen. So these LX's lights are like S tier. They're fantastic. So well done, Lexus. I just need to figure out how to point them down a little bit so I'm not laser beaming guys in the face. Okay, fuel economy this week in town has been about the same or slightly worse than the last time I drove an LX, meaning LX Non-hybrid, I'm getting about 16 to 17 miles per gallon in town. Now, trolling through the parking lot here, I am in fully electric. It's kind of cool to be driving an LX without the engine going. Pretty interesting. It's very, very smooth. And what Lexus has done here with this hybrid is nothing short of impressive. Yes, it's more powerful and the fuel economy is a joke, but there's no like electric motor whine. It's super, super quiet. You do feel the engine come on, but I kind of like it because it sounds like an exhaust pop going on. And we got our mode select. So let's maybe get into Sport Plus mode. Ooh, that truck's going fast. So we'll wait for these guys to go. We got the drag meter out. We'll do 0 to 60 here shortly. But before we do, let's just roll into the throttle and get a taste of this power. Oh yeah, so much torque. It feels like the engine doesn't need to, one, work as hard, which is typically a hybrid for acceleration, or at least when you're not in something as underpowered as a Corolla hybrid or something like, you know, with mild acceleration, the engine doesn't have to carry the full load. Full acceleration is going to work just as hard. It's going to give you the full beans. All right, so let's go ahead and give you guys full beans. LX, full-time 4x4. Okay, oh, then we hit a red light there. I don't know if we're gonna get to 60 by the time that turns green. Torque brake. Oh, it launches really hard. And then it just kind of stumbles after that. Oh, there's a good test for the brakes. Oh, there goes my bag. Oh, then it goes green. So 0 to 60 in 5.97. And 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.26. Not really that much faster than the LX 600. All right, but you feel the torque in everyday driving. It's a very smooth experience. And one of the benefits, I mean, I haven't driven an LX in a couple of years, to be honest, but one of the big benefits here is that the powertrain seems to be much more refined than the non-hybrid. I remember the 10-speed auto in the LX 600, it just didn't feel right. Like sometimes the shifts were off. It was a bit rough. You could feel the vibes of the V6 a lot more in that. Here in the 700H, it's a much smoother engine experience. Not even, of course when the engine's on, of course when the engine's off too. It's smoother top to bottom. The shifts, you barely feel the shifts in this 10-speed auto because the torque of the electric motor and the power electric motor just kind of like smooths the transition from gear shift to gear shift. Very, very impressed with the refinement here of the twin turbo V6. Not impressed again with the fuel economy. I think car and driver got 1 mile per gallon less on the highway with the hybrid than they did with the non-hybrid. So it's just, and we see this with the 2.4 turbo with the landcruiser specifically, because the landcruiser is hybrid only. So it'd be specifically like the 4Runner and the Tacoma that have the 2.4 turbo and the 2.4 turbo hybrid. The hybrid doesn't really provide that much better fuel economy, if at all. It just gives you more power, but you don't get more towing capacity because it adds weight to the system. So Lexus and Toyota need to find a way to get better fuel economy and better performance. This shouldn't be just one thing, all right? Especially when you're spending $4 grand more on this hybrid. Now, like I said, there are other benefits of this powertrain, that it is smoother and you do get added torque, but it's just, when you think Toyota hybrid, you think equal power with better efficiency. And here it's a trade-off for efficiency for better power. So it's a bit weird, but I'm done talking about the powertrain at this point. The rest of the LX is pretty good, all right? Pretty good road manners. We have a live axle in the back, but the adaptive suspension, which is standard now for 2025, does a good job with ride quality. I do feel like the ride quality has improved substantially in the LX since the last time I drove it. So it's a small improvements Lexus can make that they often don't put in paper. I remember driving the LX 600 with 22s, and I thought the ride quality was subpar compared to the old LX 570. Here it's getting pretty close. All right, and the adaptive suspension here seems to be tuned, the dampers to be attuned a little bit better here for comfort for everyday driving. All right, so happy with the ride quality, happy with the refinement made on the LX. The LX is a better vehicle than what I remember it being. And a part of that is this hybrid system, but just it feels like a more expensive vehicle here in 2025 than when it launched, even though on the outside, on the inside, it looks identical. It feels like a better executed vehicle. It's super quiet. It's even quieter than I remember it being. Maybe a part of that is the sound dampening from the engine here with the hybrid, but the smoothness is here. It still feels like a truck, and you are going to notice the live axle, the solid rear axle in the back. And some people, I like a live axle in the back. It doesn't bother me. Now here's the problem with the LX. As much as I like it, it is very expensive. It has a lot of problems, mainly due to the GX being available, being about the same size, and offering the twin turbo V6. Not quite as much power, but most people aren't going to notice the difference in power because the GX has plenty of power in my opinion. The GX tows more than this, and the GX looks better than this. What does the GX not do? Well, the GX doesn't do luxury as well. The ride quality in the GX isn't as good here. It's a louder experience, especially on the highway. The dash and the materials aren't as good as the LX. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, I'd give up a little bit of luxury, save a lot of money, and have a cooler looking vehicle that is the GX. So that's my opinion. I'd rather have a GX over the LX now that the GX has gotten bigger and freaking amazing looking. All right, let me know if you guys, which one would you take? If money is no option, I would still be taking the GX. Isn't that crazy? If money is no option, doesn't matter what the price is. The GX just looks so cool. I can get the panoramic roof if I wanted it, and it tows more. All right. Also, I would be picking an Armada over this, let alone the QX80 that's based off the new Armada. The Armada is bigger, more spacious, more accommodating. The engine is perkier. I think that's 450 horsepower. Technically, this has comparable power here in the hybrid, but the non-hybrid is better than the LX 600, and it costs a lot less. And the QX80, if you want the luxury badge, you can get it. To me, like whatever, it doesn't mean anything. You can get the Platinum Armada, which is nearly identical to the QX80, and it does some things better than the QX80, like climate control, if I remember properly, and it looks better. So that's the thing. I would take an Armada and a GX, which both cost less. If money was no option, I'd take both of those over the LX. And I'd take an Escalade over the LX. The Escalade is just, the V8 in it's so good. And the LX it's getting better, but it's not where it needs to be. What would make the LX better? Well, a full redesign. It needs to look macho like a GX oversized with better luxury. But at that point, it's just like, you got to keep in mind this is based off the landcruiser. This vehicle can't be the vehicle Lexus needs it to be in the United States because it's a global model. The Sequoia is bigger than this, but it's still very compromised. It's not big enough to compete against the Tahoes and the Grand Wagoneers and the other huge SUVs that we have in America from the American brands. The Sequoia still, even though it's bigger than this, still is not big enough for families. All right, so they can't make a Lexus version of the Sequoia because, well, they could, but it needs to even be bigger than the Sequoia. And that's where the Grand Highlander comes in. All right, even though that is flawed, you can only get 6 seats in the hybrid, just doesn't make sense to me. It should be an 8-seater, an optional 8-seater in the hybrid. But anyways, that's a different topic for a different day. So the LX used to be my favorite Lexus, or one of them, when it was the LX 570, the V8. Now this handles better, it has better performance, but pedal down. Yeah, yep. It also kind of has that weird 2-stage pedal that you feel like you hit the limit and then you can actually press it a little bit more. The IS 500 has the exact same thing. So that's kind of weird. It has a 2-stage gas pedal. I don't understand it. But yeah, I like the LX. It's just there's too many other options in this segment that I would pick over it. From the Escalade to the GX within its own lineup, the GX. For families, this is a terrible vehicle unless you just have 2 kids, even though there are 7 seats in here. And those kids can't be babies because the rear-facing setup here is just not ideal. The Armada and the QX80 are better vehicles than the LX. The ride quality here might be slightly better than those, but the handling and the size of those vehicles I prefer over this. This is still very loosey-goosey at times. I'm still in Sport Plus mode, and maybe that's, maybe I should get back into comfort mode because I'm talking about how the ride quality is not quite as good. Now that we're in comfort mode, it doesn't feel that much different, to be honest. I'm grateful that Lexus finally brought the hybrid to this model. It doesn't feel like we've been missing much. It is refined. They did a good job with it, but it's like, well, I wish I had more power and especially more fuel economy. And the fact is, you have equal or slightly worse fuel economy here. You have worse cargo capacity, but at least you have really good smoothness and refinement. And it's just, you shouldn't be compromising when you're spending this much money compared to, when you upgrade in powertrain, you shouldn't have to compromise. Yes, it's going to cost more, but it shouldn't take away a lot of your cargo capacity. It shouldn't make your third row occupants in here less comfortable. And that's what it's done. So I'm going to see you guys in the comments. The LX 700H, it's a give and a take. And when you're thinking luxury, you don't want to give and take. You want what you want, and you shouldn't have to compromise. Well, our spreadsheet is filling up as we are almost done with March now. Pretty crazy. So LX 700H, where does it fall? Oh man, okay, well, I'd much rather have it than a Hummer EV. It's much better than any of these C vehicles. Is it a solid buy? Yeah, I would say it's a solid buy. It's a really good vehicle. It's definitely better than all these here. Is it? Here's the thing. Is it better than a GR Corolla? Is completely different, right? I think it's going to fit. It's going to fit at kind of the bottom of the A class, but I could see it being in the B class as well. It's not an excellent purchase. Because it's just too compromised and there's too much competition, and the GX exists and is about the same size. So I'm actually going to put the LX 700H in the solid buy. Let's go ahead and insert one row below, and we're going to take this out here, put it in here. Yeah, the LX 700H is just a solid buy. It's a very good vehicle, but it has too many drawbacks. Much rather have an Armada that I had earlier this year. That's really the only comparable SUV. Yes, the SQ7 is it's totally different. It's a luxury SUV, right? Or so should I say crossover? It's not body on frame. So really the only body on frame vehicle that's a direct competitor would be the Armada / QX80, and that is a better truck than even the improved LX 700H here. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Lexus LX 700H. Maybe I'll have different thoughts on the Overtrail model when I get to test it one day. Maybe I'll be able to scoot it up. But I got to shut it down. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I'll check you out in the comment section. Peace.